everybody, welcome back to Pure Zealous LLC. It is Michaela. I'm so happy to be here. Today's message is based off of Matthew chapter 5 verse 3. It says, happy are those conscious of their spiritual need, since the kingdom of the heavens belong to them. So in my previous video, I think 2 videos before this, I was talking about being poor in spirit, and that also can be translated to those who are conscious of their spiritual need. So today I was reading Genesis 3, and I was going over what Satan was saying to Eve. And so let me bring up the scripture. It is chapter 3, verse 4. It says, at this the serpent said to the woman, you certainly will not die. And then verse 5, for God knows that in the very day you eat from it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, knowing good and bad. So verse 4, that was a lie. She did die, and God did say that you will die if you ate from this tree. But verse 5, that was kind of like a little bit of truth, right? So verse 22, it says, Jehovah God then said, here the man has become like one of us in knowing good and bad. The reason why this stood out to me was because I wondered to myself, what is the danger behind knowing good and bad? But it's actually a two-parter. Knowing good and bad is how they became to be like God. And in this way, I believe that they came to be like God in knowing good and bad, because in knowing good and bad, you have the mental authority to make your own decisions. And this is when it can become dangerous, because then you don't depend on God for anything. You think that you can make your own decisions. You can do everything by yourself. You won't pray to him. You won't ask him. You won't give him any authority over your life and over your decisions. And then that will cause you to sin. It was a sin in the first place for them to disobey God. But then it's double sin, because now you're going based off of your fleshly desires, and you crave only to give yourself what you feel like you need, instead of inquiring of Jehovah God to give you what you need, depending on him for what you need. So what stood out to me about this in my own life was it's similar to when a person don't want you no more. When this man don't want you no more. When this man done shoved you off and pushed you to the side. It can make a woman go beyond her ways and say, well, I'm finna go do with so-and-so. I'm finna go with so-and-so. And now you being impatient and you going against God. And you're not even inquiring of God of what you should do or how you should do it and when you should do it. You're not giving him the time of day. You're not giving him any authority over your decisions. You're not letting him be God, period. You're not letting him be God. If you know good and bad, if you know everything, if you want to do everything for the desires of your flesh, then what need would you have for God? You basically made yourself your own God. So you have no need for the real, true, only living God. You're just doing whatever you want to do. And it's downhill from there, for real. It's downhill. What I want to point out is the first word of Matthew 5 verse 3, which is happy. Happy are those who are conscious of their spiritual need. You will be fulfilled, and you will get everything that you desire, everything that you need. Even what you think you need, you don't really need. When you inquire of God, all your wants, all your needs, all your desires, you will be fulfilled. He will fulfill you every single way that it go, because he is God and he created you, and he's the only true living God. And we was never supposed to know good and bad. We was never supposed to have so much knowledge of good and bad. This can also show up in your money. This is what causes some people to steal, some people to gamble, some people to, I'm gonna pawn this real quick because I need this money real quick. It is birthed from the lack of patience, the lack of self-control, the lack of kindness, the lack of mildness, the lack of forgiveness, the lack of loyalty. when you don't take into account what God thinks about it, what he said about it, what his word said about it, what Jesus said about it, his actions toward whatever is similar to whatever situation you're going through. It is ultimately leading you to your demise if you do not inquire God of your very well-being, of your whole being, of who you are as a person, your desires and your wants and your needs. When you are not conscious of your spiritual need, because I once said that sometimes it is not that person. You will make a person your enemy. You will make a job your enemy. When the whole time, maybe God is saying you don't need that man right now. You don't need that man, which could be your husband or could not be your husband. Or maybe you just don't need a man because you still suffer with lustful desires. When you're totally dependent on God, he will reveal to you your spiritual needs, what you need spiritually. So perhaps it is self-control. It is patience that you need. So in the sense of a woman who is being denied a man, maybe the man rejected her and she made an enemy out of that man. But God is saying he is not the enemy. You don't need the man because you struggle with lustfulness. So then now you know your spiritual need. And whatever it is, maybe you suffer with lustfulness because you lack self-control, or you lack patience, or you lack humility, whatever the case may be, whatever it is for you. You would know your spiritual need when you indulge in one-on-ones and intimacy with Jehovah God, our Creator. So then you will know your spiritual need. And we should always be dependent on Jehovah God. We should never just think we got it all together. We should never just think we know everything. We should never just think that can't nobody tell us nothing, and we are in charge of our own lives. Some people like to say we are the CEO of our own lives. You can say that. You can say that. But I think it's important to remember that we don't own our lives, right? We don't actually get to say what going down when it go down. We don't actually get to say when it's over. We don't actually get to say when anything is going to happen. We don't have that say. So it's very important to be dependent on God, like really depend on God for everything. Really go to him, really trust in him, because I think that is, how when a girl finna argue with her man, she be like, I just think it's funny how. And that's how I felt when I read Genesis 3:5. I was like, I just think it's funny how. I just think it's funny how. You tricked Eve, okay? And what you tricked her in was, like, I see what you lied to her about. You lied to her about not being able to die. But what you didn't lie was about what actually was the truth. And it's like, why would you use the truth against us? So I really had to think about that for a second. Like, why would he use the truth against us? Unless it was a way to set Eve up for her demise. And I think this is part of the reason of why knowing good and bad is dangerous, because then you get to make your own decisions for yourself, and you just choose to not fight against that flesh. And that's what I took from it. And what I took from it for me, I'm just going to give my own advice right here on this live, right here on this video. When one situation don't work out, that don't mean I'm finna go call so-and-so. I'm finna go do this with so-and-so. You know what I used to do? If you made me mad, I will go find some weed so fast. You know what the enemy used to do? Even when I was broke, he'd have people giving me weed for free. I'm snitching. Yes. So many times. I can't even count how many times people have given me weed for free. When I was down. No. Oh, I got a scripture. For this is what the high and lofty one says. That's Jehovah. Who lives forever and whose name is holy. He said, I reside in the high and holy place, but also with those crushed and lowly in spirit, to revive the spirit of the lowly and to revive the heart of those being crushed. Now, this just stood out to me right here. This one stood out to me because you see how the enemy will sneak in. Even when you don't have no money for no weed, he will find a way to give you some weed. When the devil is trying you, you have to remember, like, first of all, keep your guard up. And when you keep your guard up, come back to him with a question. Because in my opinion, I feel like Eve should have been like, first of all, who are you and why are you? Like, don't you hate when somebody question you about something that don't even got nothing to do with them? I would have been like, why? Hold on, first of all, where you getting at? What's your point? And why you trying to come to me and change up what God said? It gotta be a reasoning behind what you said, right? And so when I think about when people used to just give me weed, I wish that back then I would have been like, hold on, why are you giving me weed for free? People don't give out drugs for free. Why are you giving me weed for free? And it's like, it's an attack. It's an attack. It's an attack. It's an attack. And the reason why I thought of this scripture is because you have to put Jehovah in those places where you feel the least powerful. When you feel like, I don't know what to do. I don't have no clues. I don't have no way. I don't have no strength. I don't even know what to say to, like, just as clueless as I'm speaking right now, right? You have to put Jehovah in those places instead of weed in those places, instead of another man in those places, instead of money in those places, instead of jobs in those places, or whatever it is you're trying to get at in those places. But you have to realize when those places are actually being filled, and then when they are unfulfilled, which means that there is again a void, go ahead and tap in. Look, the devil had his fun. You had your way. You had your way with me. It is over and it's up for you. Okay? It is up for the devil. He be mad. When he leave, I be talking again. No, I'm just playing. But no, I do be like stumping on his head. Okay, so right back, I'm going to read this scripture one time. It says, I reside in the high and low. I reside in the high and holy place, but also with those crushed and lowly in spirit. This means that when you are crushed and lowly in spirit, God is still with you. So that means that you need to be depending on him for every single thing. Not just depending on him when you're heartbroken. Depend on him when your heart ain't even broken no more, but you're lonely though. So now your heart not even broken because of what so-and-so did. Your heart just lonely and just, it's dust. It's dust on it. And you like, I don't even know what to do. I need somebody to love and I need somebody to love me. Depend on Jehovah God. I thank y'all and I'll see y'all in the next video.